Well, we reflected on the fallout from the substantial Labour rebellion with STV's Westminster correspondent Paris Gourtsoyannis. So Paris, how damaging is this for Keir Starmer?
This has been very damaging for the Labour Party. Keir Starmer stuck to his position in favour of humanitarian pauses and against a ceasefire in Gaza because he wanted Labour to look like a government in waiting. Well, governments don't often lose 8 ministers in one night, so this is a serious blow. You can also tell by how desperately Labour tried to avoid the situation, bringing forward their own amendment to try and peel off some of the rebels, but it has still been a serious toll. They've lost Jess Phillips, who's probably one of the better-known Labour MPs, a strong media performer who the party often turned to. She wrote in her own resignation letter that this is one of the most difficult decisions that she's ever had to take, and she desperately wanted to avoid it.
There is no actual threat to Keir Starmer's leadership, though, is there?
No, he's not in that position, but his authority is dented, as any leaders would be when more than a quarter of your MPs vote against a 3-line whip to vote a certain way. That's undeniable. I think also going into the election, which we expect in the next year, one of the ways that Keir Starmer's opponents, both in the SNP and the Conservatives, are trying to frame him as someone who made certain promises and set out certain principles when he was running for leader and has left those principles. And I think this is an incident which will be personally damaging to him and will be used as ammunition by his opponents.
It was an SNP amendment that the Labour rebels voted for tonight. How is the SNP reacting to the result of the vote?
Well, I want to be clear, in all of this, almost everyone in the House of Commons would say that they want to stop the violence to stop in Gaza immediately, as most people around the country would. But there is politics in this as well. Stephen Flynn, when I interviewed him yesterday, and that was played on Scotland Tonight last night, admitted as much. And I think they will be pleased to have shown that they can find an issue where that is damaging to Labour, that they've managed to find something that divides the Scottish Labour leader from the UK Labour leader, and that's important to them. And that you could hear from the shadow frontbenchers who spoke in the Commons earlier that they fear that their party has been or is on the wrong side of history, both in not calling for a ceasefire now, but the fact is that the conflict in Gaza at some point will end with a ceasefire, and their party has, as they see it, voted against that. And finally, there is an electoral impact to this. The MPs who voted for a ceasefire will have done that for principled reasons, but they'll also be hearing from their constituents. And with Labour targeting seats in Glasgow and the west of Scotland with major populations from the Muslim community, that is also going to be a concern for them going forward.
OK, Paris, thank you very much indeed for that.